Excited to get started on the 4D scope. We've done a lot of this work on other projects, but excited to start, I guess, working on it with your group. I was thinking today I could just go over a quick overview of how we plan on doing the setup, kind of the goals of what we're looking to get out of the 4D study. And then as we've been kind of setting things up on our side, there are just a couple initial questions, just in terms of sequencing that I'll probably ask going through. But I will share my screen. That'll probably help. Okay, so our 4D models, I think all three of you are familiar, but essentially the process, what we're going to do is we're going to take the models. In this case, we'll take the design team models and we'll tie them to the project schedule that you've provided. So each element in the 3D model gets tied to an activity in the schedule that allows us to visualize kind of the sequencing of the elements. I think probably Nick, I know showed this to you, Gunnar, maybe you've seen it as well. But this is kind of a sample of what things will look like when we pull it together. Again, this is another project site that kind of gives you a feel for what we're looking to do here. This one I thought was relevant too, because obviously this was a project on the right. This was our first build, so it's a live site, and then this is the second build going in. So we just look to make sure that not only are we doing our sequencing, but we can just make sure that we're not disturbing any operations to the live site. So for us to get started, we take the 3D model, we'll tie it to the schedule, and then we'll add geometry for kind of exclusion zones. That helps us just identify in the sequencing, say we have like a lift, or if I bring up the application, you might be able to see it a bit better. These exclusion zones just help us identify, like the way we do our 3D clash detection in our standard BIM coordination, we add this additional geometry for lifts and kind of exclusion zones just to help us check in a dynamic clash detection situation. So say we have a lift or something here, and if it interferes with something else like our crane swing, we'll be able to pick that up similar to the way we've done our other clash detection. So we'll add geometry in for that. And then we'll also add geometry for the construction vehicles. So like our cranes and stuff that we're using to lift equipment onto the site. What we're looking at, and I think our intent with this scope is really to focus on the exterior elements of the build. We can do a little bit on the inside. I just think in terms of what you're looking to get out of this sequencing effort, we're going to get the most value out of really focusing on the exterior, and in particular, I suspect those OptiStack units, if that makes sense.
That's exactly the intent, Paul. You're honing in on the right spot.
Yeah. Okay. No, it sometimes helps to state the obvious. Okay, so that will certainly be our objective. We can do a little bit on the inside, but we'll really focus, I'd say 90% of our efforts on the exterior. So in terms of our sequencing, I know you've already started with the underground utilities. We can tie that in just to, especially at the end as a presentation tool. It'll be helpful to give you kind of an overall timeline and visual for services going into the site. So we'll do underground services, we'll do the core shell. So foundation, steel, and then the build, and then really focus in on the east equipment yard. And those the OptiStacks units as they go in.
Yeah. One other thing that's going to be really critical here is there's this redundant power line that is likely going to have to go along the east end of the equipment yard, directly adjacent to all of the work. It is going to be likely a 25 to 30 foot deep trench that needs to be dug to accomplish that, with a really, tight workspace next to it for really heavy, large loads that need to be swung. So there is going to be a little bit of thread in the needle if we get stuck with that kind of redundant power layout. I'm right now doing my best to try to avoid that. But one of the real drivers behind the 4D scheduling is for something like that that's going to be high risk work next to high risk work. Mm-hmm. Multiple, crews working 6/10s every week. Like we really need to be dialed in on it. So
yeah. No, absolutely. And we'll obviously make sure that that gets included in the modeling. And then really, I think as a result, like we'll obviously be able to do things like dynamic clash detection, but as we're producing animations and kind of working through our drafts, I think the biggest value add of this effort will be in getting your team's feedback, and maybe some from the Clune side as well. But I think once you start seeing these types of sequences visually versus just looking at it on drawings and a project schedule, things that will look things you'll be able to identify things that look out of place. I think even just without that dynamic clash detection. So we'll definitely be our typically when we do these efforts, we're producing drafts every 2 weeks. And we can certainly, I think in the beginning, it'll probably be every 2 weeks just as we're getting everything set up. But then going forward, we can probably make updates for your team to review every week. And then we'll just have sample animations like the one I'm showing here that will circulate for your team. And again, the real value add is incorporating feedback and your knowledge and your expertise. And if there's something that comes through on an animation, you say, Paul, this is not the way we do it, or hey, Paul, this doesn't look right. That's exactly what we're looking to capture, I guess, in this exercise, is just make sure that we tie kind of your knowledge and expertise and tie that into an animation. So it's more than just a nice video, but actually a tool that we can use to really improve communication amongst everyone on the project.
Mm-hmm. That sounds fantastic.
Okay, so that is kind of the base of how we're going to make it. I mentioned we've already started. So we might have something next week, but I'd say tentatively 2 weeks from now, we'll kind of have preliminary drafts ready, just where it won't be fully complete, but we'll start having information. And I'll obviously make sure that along the way, as questions come up, it's not just going to be 2 weeks of silence as we're preparing these. I'll certainly be in contact with any questions and just updates as we go along the way.
Yeah. The first one I got is we gave you a schedule that's not fully finalized. Is it broken down enough for you to set up these sequences? Like, is there enough detail in there?
There is. We will definitely have to add additional elements in there. And I was going to get to that next, just in particular with the sequencing of the OptiStacks. There's enough to get started. We'll probably have to add some additional detail just because I know you're going to want to see kind of the sequencing and more granularity than what we have in just the activity list. But I think we have enough to get started. Just the general durations are very helpful to get us started. And then we'll probably break some down, especially as we're looking at our sequencing. There will be some areas that we break down, and as we're breaking them down, we can run our assumptions by you and kind of how we've done the breakdown, and we can go through that together. But this is definitely, I mean, the biggest thing for us right now, I think, is just getting started, and we have enough from the schedule to get started.
Gotcha. The other one kind of fits with that is we're going to have an updated schedule here that us and Clune have been working on for the past couple of weeks, and that'll be, hopefully one of the last big schedule changes we see. I'm gonna knock on wood as I say that. Oleg, where are we at on that schedule? Do we have line of sight on that coming to ground today, Monday? Just because I'd like you to make sure that that ends up the schedule you're working this draft off of. It shouldn't be too different than what you have, but it will be different.
Yeah. So yeah, what I shared today in the morning. So basically, we have a little bit of OptiStacks wise, we're good. That's actually the main point of this, right? For the schedule, like a little bit we have some discrepancies in utilities, but once again, you will not be showing up utilities here underground, especially, right? Or you will be.
We're gonna do the underground utilities. It's part of the yard. It feeds the OptiStack. It ties into the schedule.
So in that case, yeah. So I would say the underground utilities still needs to be, to be worked on, because not all of them are related to the actual picture. But yeah, other than that, in civil scope, And the final slab on grade for the admin area. Panels wise, we should be good. Up to stack should be good. I would say yeah. So main concern is the utilities and the final slab on grade for the admin area. Just a kind of big picture for schedule. If we're talking about exterior wise, right? So
Yeah.
Just exterior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that's helpful to know. And again, we can definitely within the tool we use, it's called Synchro to do it. And so here we'll have again, this is another project we're just working on getting the background set up for Austin. But we'll have here just the Microsoft project schedule that comes in here in your traditional Gantt view. And then kind of as we scroll through, it'll be tied to we can basically just update the schedule by a new schedule import as
Okay.
kind of more or newer or more detailed versions come through.
Okay. That's good to know. And how about Paul? How about the mechanical scope? Let's say we have empty status, right? We do have the modules, and then we will have the hookup of like electrical, mechanical stuff. So is that something also will be reflected over there, or just kind of big blocks?
Mostly big blocks. We can show the way we've kind of done it in the past for especially like energizing and commissioning. I think this one has it. Get a bit further. We definitely will show the way we have these kind of zones for high risk activity. So here you can see red, any lines that any equipment that gets energized will show in red, just to make it very clear what's energized at that point. And then I forget if this one has it. We'll add kind of just it's more bigger blocks just to show, hey, commissioning's happening. I just think in terms of the value you're looking to get, it's a lot of modeling time on those connections versus what I guess the value you get out of it. So we'll show the way. So here in this big yellow box, we can put like electrical, we can put text on top just to indicate that the connection's taking place. But I like that would be kind of the detail level of our of what we're showing there. Does this one have it? Yeah. So here you can see the way we place like text on top. We can add text there just to indicate, like as equipment say it's commissioning or the electrical and mechanical connections. That would probably be what we're doing there. And you'll obviously see like the services coming in, so that will all be sequenced. But then just to indicate like that final startup and especially the commissioning, this is typically how we show it.
Okay. All right. And the final product of, let's say, not the final, but kind of like the way how we show it to the customer. So it's going to be like the video, like a short movie, right? So it's kind of like we'll show how it's built up, and
Yes.
and it's going to be like, you know, like for the whole project, or it should be like how you see that.
So
let's say-
again, we'll focus on the exterior. We can do it for the duration of the schedule. Animation, yes, I think will be the best tool. It's just we kind of find it in terms of getting it in front of people and getting them to comment, just having them open up a standard video export is the easiest. We can certainly, there's Synchro has a viewer. I don't have it open, but there is a kind of web platform that we can make available to your team that allows you to just, instead of the default viewpoints that we'll have for the animation, it'll allow you to kind of spin around like I'm doing now and pull through the schedule. But we definitely find that as you're exporting it to, or getting it in front of different groups, the just standard video export is usually the best way to do that.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. So I think that's everything I wanted to go through in terms of setup. Again, as we start to kind of progress, I think you'll get a sample. Well, it'll look kind of similar to this and you'll get a better feel for it, but we'll definitely make sure progress animations are available, and I'll look into just getting your team, especially Oleg, I know you'd like to get in and be able to navigate the models. Yep. I'll set up the web platform when we get to that level of development, so you can go through and kind of navigate yourself and cut around and work with it.
Yep. Sounds good.
Yep.
And time wise, like, what's your time frame for the development of that schedule?
Yeah, so assuming we get or if we start working with this schedule or just based on where we are, I think probably so again we'll have draft, like our first draft kind of stuff ready in probably 2 weeks. And then I would say for like as we get more and more feedback, we're usually I would conservatively estimate 8 weeks, but we'll obviously have a lot of stuff ready to share before that, but kind of the final polished of everything that you see, I'd say is about 8 weeks. But in that time, like we'll have a lot of drafts that you can still work with. Just the way you see like the video that I'm showing here, that kind of polished end product, that'll take it'll just take a bit more time to develop. Does that, timing wise, does that work for your group, or are there any, I guess, what sort of schedule or what do we need to have ready? I know as soon as possible is likely the answer.
So the real answer is we're looking at getting these OptiStacks in mid-July. For this to be beneficial, we'd want to have something in mid-June, so we have a month to walk through it and see anything that jumps out at us.
Yep.
So that 8 weeks is probably right there, if not a little bit tight.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's helpful. And again, I say the 8 weeks, but that will be building in feedback along the way. It's not like in 8 weeks time, you'll see that'll be the first time we present something.
Yep.
We'll have a lot along the way. I just want to manage in terms of that final video that looks pretty and everything works together at the end, because I'm sure there are some items we'll want to work through and maybe make tweaks to scheduling. We'll just have to do that along the way.
Yeah, I think it's really the onus will be on us to make sure we provide good feedback and we get all the answers to the questions as things pop up, which I think is doing this in the 8 weeks will be a fantastic way to shake out those issues and questions now. That way we've got a month to kind of, hey, here's the plan. Let's finalize it. Let's polish it.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so in getting started, a couple questions I just wanted to go over in the beginning. And I think for the utilities, that is pretty clear to us and how we're going to show, and we'll have some drafts. I don't really have major questions at this time and how we're going to show that. It's going to be just our energization zones, and then trying to think if I forget if these ones show it, but we'll kind of show, does this show the underground utility going in? But we'll show just as they're going in, and this happens pretty quickly. It'll be kind of a gradual, you'll see like the duct bank and stuff going in. Here, that's one that shows up, goes very quickly, but we'll just show it'll be gradual as it goes in and it's tied to the schedule. But definitely OptiStacks is the area I have questions on first. So in terms of sequencing for the OptiStacks, my first question, and some of these questions may be self-explanatory, but it's helpful just to make sure I have that clear. As they're coming in to the site, how are they coming in? Do they come in off Kenny Fort and then?
They're coming by 3 groups. So if you will see the map, those will come out by 3 groups, starting from the installation will begin from south to north, because we have the phase number 1 on the south.
Sorry, and Oleg, I meant like actually as the truck is bringing them into that south area, where is that truck coming from?
From New Mercer Lane, from south side.
Coming in from New.
Okay, so it comes in and it's the entrance. Is it the entrance that's closer to 1?
Arturo, could you share that plan that you sent to Woody with crane pass and all that will be.
Yes, I absolutely can. As a matter of fact, if you give me a minute, let me switch devices so I can share with
You break it out. Arturo, you're breaking really
Can
bad.
you hear me now?
I got you. You said you're switching devices.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's your device.
My headset, yeah, I know.
All right. No, keep going though. But it is. Yeah, it's your headset. So the way they're coming in, Paul, because I think my device is going to take a while.
Yeah.
It's coming in from New Master Lane from the east side of Master Lane. See it. West. There you go.
So yeah, the truck will be coming directly from the side. Okay, so trucks come in from New Meister. That's where they go in. Could you send us this logistics plan?
Yep, I'll forward it to you right now.
Perfect. Okay, so they come in and then they'll, so if I go back to sharing my screen. Okay, so they will come in, I'm not showing it on this plan, but they'll come in kind of from down here on New Meister Lane, come up north. We'll go, obviously, we start phasing, so we go from south to north. Phase one group, our phase two group, come to north, and then trucks will then circle around and come back out that same entrance.
Yeah. Now,
Okay.
Paul, here's the deal. So the Opti stacks are grouped by 3. So the supply will be by 3 units, 3 stacks, and
my next question.
okay. And go ahead.
So the way they come together, and I was looking at the shop drawings here. So you said 3 units. So we start, is the fuel, is each of these its own module that comes in separately? Fuel tank, it's the bracing, PDC, generator, chiller.
Each of these stacks you have from bottom to top. First is fuel tank. Next you have bracing. Next you have PDC, bracing again, generator, chiller, right? So, and those 3 groups they're gonna will be built layer by layer. So 3 fuel tanks, 3 bracing, and all the rest of the top.
So, but how could you just clarify how the 3 breaks down between the fuel tank, bracing, PDC, bracing, generator, chiller?
There is this submittal. You're looking for submit. I could share the screen with submittal to show you. 1 sec. Let me open it up.
And I have the submittal open, so if there's a different page, this is what I was looking at.
I just don't remember. It has 600 pages. It's
just
easier for me just to kind of, to show it. So I'll find this section. Okay, I got it. All right. Paul, could you see it now?
Yeah, I got it.
So that's kind of, view, lateral view of the Opti stacks. So how it's supposed to be done, the first layer, we could say, right? That's fuel tank module and the bracing module.
Got it.
That should be assembled in 1 day. Next one comes is a PGC module and bracing module.
Okay.
By the way, the
1 day for
platform,
that too?
No, for that one we're considering 2 days. So in total, all three OptiStacks is 3 sets. Supposed to
Yep.
be done by 6 days per current schedule.
Okay. I think I saw,
So-
is it 7 currently in the,
6.
yeah, I got it.
Maybe-
Rig set OptiStack. So I was looking at the electrical connections. Yeah, 6 days.
Yeah. So yeah, when I'm talking about the first layer, I'm talking about all together the bracing module, fuel tank, platform, and stairs.
Oh, wow. Okay, so that all comes together.
And yeah, that all comes as first layer for
Huh.
three OptiStacks, not just one,
Yeah.
3.
But is
second
for
layer,
each OptiStacks, does it, so it comes in a pack of 3 is like one assembly?
no. So each OptiStacks is separate fuel tank, separate bracing.
Yeah.
Maybe just the platform will be kind of connected between those, but all the rest is separate.
Yep.
Second
So,
layer is PDC module and bracing.
Mhm.
Third layer is generator
Mhm.
with a platform here, and the last one chiller.
so 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and then what we have, and then you said they come in sets of 3. So say you have each fuel tank and bracing on your first delivery, you'll have for 3 OptiStacks, you'll have 3 fuel tank bracing, and then I guess the associated stair.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see. So also between those, you could see here like the steel structure. I don't know if you will show in that, maybe yes, maybe no, but just kind of for your information. So between the OptiStacks, you have the lateral steel structures. They will be also part of those kind of multi-layered system. But I don't know if you really need to show them or no. It's up to you. Just for your information.
Yeah, I think our plan will be to try and show it all, but yeah.
That's something which is connected to the platforms and stairs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The big picture.
Okay. No, thank you. That is very helpful. Here, I will go back. And then here, I'll probably show, do I show this at the end? Okay, yeah, this will be helpful. So as we're kind of showing it coming in, like we'll have here, so we'll show truck coming in, where you see here, this was an external electrical unit, external electrical room, these were. So it'll come in, you have, so say we're starting at the base, you'll have your fuel tank and bracing, and the stair will come in as one unit on a truck, and then we'll show a crane that then lifts that into place on the foundation.
All right.
Does that make sense?
Well, that's how it's up. Yeah, the first thing will be installation of the fuel tank on the foundation.
Yeah, just as
Exactly.
one block coming in.
Yeah, like each of the stacks eventually it's one block. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
So
okay. So we will show that, and then we can also create. This is freezing on me. For each one, we'll show obviously we'll have our kind of bird's eye view of everything going on, and then we can do for some of our OptiStack setups, we can do these detailed. It's frozen on me. Like a detailed look at how it actually comes in. So here, so like as we can get closer and just visualize here, we'll probably only do this for the OptiStacks, but I suspect we'll get the most value out of that. Something like that.
yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so that is very helpful because I was not really sure how these things came we're supposed to go together. Okay. Else, I think that was to start definitely my biggest questions, because these are big units that are coming in. Okay, so we'll start there. And then for the new line that's coming in, is that the new line, is that what's being coordinated with Encore right now? Or is that something separate?
That's what's being coordinated.
Okay. And so at this time, we still don't know 100% kind of how that's happening.
It's likely going to be what you've got shown here.
Which version, the green or the blue?
The green.
Okay. So somehow connecting in here and then coming out into the equipment yard.
Correct. Yeah. The alternate I'm hoping we can make happen. Actually, I'll grab the screen real quick to show you because I just sent it over, honestly, during this call. Would be this. So what you had in green goes up here to the north across the street, and then we feed under the roadway to hook everything up.
Yeah.
Because then we don't have to do this nightmare trench next to everything else.
Yeah.
But right now, I'm assuming the worst of that trench is going to happen.
Yeah. Okay.
So everybody, cross your fingers. This happens.
Yeah. Fingers and toes are crossed.
Yeah. But yeah, I probably 70% chance it's going to be that trench. This is still a long shot, but I'm shooting for it.
Okay. Okay, got it. All right. Well, I think in terms of getting started, just knowing where construction vehicles are coming in. One other item I did want to ask, has there been any type of, I know you showed that construction logistics plan earlier. Is there been any type of confirmation, and we do these things, vehicle tracking studies where we just make sure, like for the cranes and the larger delivery vehicles, that there's actually enough space on the roads have been, like with radius and stuff like that's been accommodated for. Is that something? This was an example here, like they designed their initial ring road and you can see that there isn't enough turn radius to get around this corner of the site. Is that something we should be like looking into, or has that been done by, I don't know if that'd be like WGI or the Clune team?
That's been talked about between pretty much Chad and yes, a few of the Clune team members, which Woody would be one of them. It hasn't been decided or established on what the radius needs to be. We just been saying it needs to be a wide turn.
Okay.
Long
So it's something we can definitely look into because we do it a lot of other projects. And again, it's very helpful, like as is with the 4D, you'll see immediately, and then like we can create drawings showing kind of the clearances you'll have as you're making these turns.
Right on. Might reach out to you, let you know exactly what size of the trailers are going to be. And then from there we can try to figure out what radius we're going to need.
Yeah.
I don't even know how much curve we need to cut in to make that turn here at New Masterway.
Yeah, no, it's just I figured as we're looking, and I know these are going to be big trucks coming in that are delivering these, that sometimes that's helpful just to, even if everything's good, it's just helpful to have that validation that you're going to be able to make it around, the trucks are going to be able to make it around. Because
absolutely. No, we had pretty technical difficulties with the previous equipment, trying to get them into us and running generators, in particular, running over landscaping and
yeah.
over the medium of the Kenny Ford Road.
Yeah. Right. So something we can definitely take a look at as well. Okay, so I think it was for me just to get us started, just understanding the sequencing of the OP stacks, going over our plan. Those were definitely the big ones to get us started. So you may have sent this to me already. But yeah, Gunnar, thanks. The logistics plan, that's helpful. If there is an updated schedule available, that is helpful as well. And just really anything from, I think that should be everything we need just to get started. But yeah, so
Well, I'll forward to you the last updated schedule, which was sent to the
okay,
to our guys today. Yeah, I'll share with you after this meeting.
okay, perfect. I think that was most of what I was hoping to go through in the kickoff. Again, I think a lot more will come up and become clear as we start sending progress updates your way. But was there anything else your team wanted to go over, or any questions you had just in pulling this together?
No, I got nothing. Appreciate you taking the time to meet with us here. So looking forward to getting this moving.
Yep.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, of course, guys. Okay.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.